Hello again everyone, Michael here, and welcome back to the channel. It is March 1st, 2024, and I feel like it's been almost a week since I've been able to talk to you. I guess it probably has been almost a week since I've been able to talk to you. We are less than 48 hours shy of our target completion we have to be done by. Sunday, March 3rd is the very important date. But let's go ahead and discuss some of the finishing interior parts. As long as we get the interior done and complete, I will be happy. And then exterior can happen after Sunday at some point in time. So, when we left off, part 14, we had just finished up wrapping up our interior A-pillars there at the front, and discussed the intercom and thought process as to how I was going to bring that intercom into the panel, but not necessarily bring the device to the panel. So let's back up a minute and I'll show you where the intercom physically is at again, and then I'll quickly discuss my thought process, and we will see if we can put this into action and actually make jacks into our panel in a more or less a approximate exact location that they would be in the real aircraft. So let me go ahead and switch cameras here, and I'll point out the actual intercom. So, oh. Uh-oh, I lost you. Technical difficulties, stand by. Okay, there it is. I accidentally unplugged it while trying to move it. Anyway, our intercom is sitting right back here on our front display support shelf. That's where our intercom is residing, and that's probably where it's going to stay. And the reason why I want to keep it there is just in case I need to manually adjust the volume on it for some reason. It's somewhat accessible, and I can reach out and do that. So, let me switch back here. That being said, here is what we're going to do. I'm going to attempt. We have this General Aviation 5-foot extension cable. The part number for this guy from Aircraft Spruce Company, Papa Alpha -77 Sierra. That's the universal part number. If you Google it, it comes up at several different vendors. So the thought process is to use this to extend the intercom to the panel. Okay. But our panel is already very tight, especially on the co-pilot side, because we have our glove box that's kind of in there down on the bottom right there. So that takes up a lot of the wooden real estate of the panel to give us to be able to secure it to. We have more room on the pilot side, because we don't have that big metal glove box sitting there. But by theory and thought process, after taking this to work and using a micrometer to measure these female plugs, these are going to be what our headset plugs into. The closest standard measurement that I could come up with, as far as a drill bit being available, is 13/16 of an inch. And the only thing that I relatively found it in is this spade bit here. These things are not the most friendly to hand drill, and I'll caution you that right now. But that is what I have access to, and that is what I plan on using. But holding it up, it does look like we have a pretty accurate measurement there. The theory is to be able to drill 2 holes into this piece of 2x4 and poke these through, and then we'll fasten these somehow, because I didn't want it to be too loose in there, but we need it to be large enough to accept these GA headset plugs. It is relatively important that this part get accomplished prior to Sunday. For our 5-year anniversary flight. So that is the goal for this evening, getting the intercom. Caldwick, this is live, yes. So that's the plan for this evening, is getting the intercom fully functional, both sides, and getting some interior trim finished up. I want to get our grab handles installed in their respective location, and the way, location wise, here's what we're gonna do as far as where I'm gonna place them. First, I'm gonna pull up a photo and show you where they are in the plane that I fly. They seem to relocate these handles over the years, but I am trying my best to model the aircraft that I fly in real life. So let me pull up this picture here. Then I'm going to share my screen. Of course.
Why does anyone...
Okay. Let's see if I can figure out how to... Okay. Display capture. There it is. This just happened. This is just the closest thing I could find. This is just happens to be a still shot of me flying the plane. But if we look at our A-pillars, you can see that that grab handle went kind of vertical just in front of our door, if we're looking at the right side of the screen. So that's the plan where we're going to install them. And The other thing we're going to do is wrap, if we look just above our co-pilot door and our pilot door, we can still see part of our wooden frame. We're going to put some of that batting material and vinyl material and wrap those. The batting material is just going to be on the inside. It's not going to go, in the seam, I guess in between the space of the top of the door and the bottom of the door frame. We're not going to put anything there that's going to take up some space and sort of increase that gap and make our doors sort of weird closing. And yeah, so that's sort of the plan for this evening. So that being said, the first thing that we need to do is go inside of the plane, and we'll take a look at that co-pilot side and kind of take a look at what we're gonna have to deal with and work around here. Alright, so let's head into there. I'll try not to unplug it this time. Okay, hopefully, I should grab my phone so I can monitor this, because I can't see what you can see currently. Okay, what I want is to be able to plug headphone jacks in, or plug a headset in just here below the glove box. We just don't have much wood to work with, so my thought process currently is we'll have to, figure a section of 2x4, coming down with our 2 holes in it. But we're coming over, and then there's gonna be so it's gonna look like an L, almost a backwards L. So we're gonna kind of come over and come up, and I'm hoping to be able to capture right here beside the glove box. We're gonna drill some pilot holes and drill through. Because we're working with such finite, we're gonna drill all the way through and then screw into our piece. We're not gonna screw through the panel. And then we may be able to come in here and possibly drill or screw down through the glove box into that piece, depending on where it ends up at. So that's kind of the theory, I think, right now. So let's head back and see if we can't put this theory into action. I do want to thank everyone for coming in and hanging out a bit this evening. Okay. But I may as well just cut right to the chase and see if we can't get this accomplished. I'm gonna make a mess right here in the hangar floor as far as the drilling goes, just so I can kind of show you what my thought process is. this is a piece of wood I plan on using, or trying, or attempting to use. And I'm just gonna kind of hold my headset plugs up here. Just kind of eyeball, because you want to kind of split it into thirds, and you're going in the middle of each third. You want enough material on each end, you know. But I'm just honestly just eyeballing it currently. Looks about centered there. Looks about centered there. And then the screw that I needed happens to fall in this box. There it is. But anyway, I want to make sure that I'm not too close to the bottom here, because I want to make sure that I have enough material, you know, that even that through that once I get my 13/16 bore bit through there, you know, that I still have a good solid, you know, material around that hole. Because my theory, once that hole is drilled, I'm gonna take this here clamp, I call it a worm clamp, hose clamp, something of that sort. Kinda has a bunch of grooves in it, and it just essentially tightens up once you turn the screw on it. And I'm looking for that driver right now. But my theory or plan is to, you know, we'll go in from the front or from the back, you know, so we stick out some, tighten it, and tighten this back one and put one on the front, and then that would prevent any sort of movement in and out as you're plugging and unplugging your GA headset. So that is kind of my theory right now. So I think I'm going to try to put this in action, and I want to start by at least getting the holes drilled and getting that part accomplished, because I think once we cut this down to size, it's going to be a bit more difficult to get those holes drilled where we need them to be. Mostly because we're dealing with a lot smaller, you know, piece of material, and we're having to drill this with a 13/16 auger bit. I can tell you right now, it's probably not going to be a whole lot of fun doing it by hand, because it's probably going to want to walk. Well, it won't really walk, but it's probably going to want to not really go all that straight. This one has a screw point on the front of it, and the theory is to help kind of keep it centered as it's going through your material. We'll see how well it works. So let's see if I can't just point this down just a little bit further. And we'll see if we can make a mess on the floor. How about that? First, I want to drill a couple pilot holes, just so that my drill bit doesn't, you know, walk too far away from where I want it to be. Remember, I want enough material, so I'm probably coming up about an inch from the bottom of my 2x4 to give me what I would consider, you know, enough material to be comfortable drilling. And I'm just drilling right into a backer board, just a scrap piece of wood. Okay. So amongst some previous screw holes that were in there already, I've got 2 pilot holes drilled right here. They're relatively even with each other. We'll see what happens if we can get this larger hole drilled. So when I just had in it. Now, my drill has a clutch on it, so I'm going to turn the clutch on, at least for now, and we'll see how it does. The clutch essentially keeps it from trying to twist out of your arm at a certain point, I guess, for lack of a more professional way to describe what the clutch does. Alright, I'm just going to try and step on this board here and hope that it doesn't you know, get too carried away here. Alright, I think we're just about through. Okay, we got one in. And then what I want to do before we drill the other one is we'll just kind of slide this in through here, and I think that'll work out. That'll do what we need it to do. Okay, I'm going to drill this other one now. You know what the best part about this is right now? No one can tell me that I can't make this mess. Okay. 2 holes drilled in there. That's sort of the theory. Well, it'll kind of be like that. Of course, we'll paint this. But what's going to happen is we're going to come in here with these hose clamps. And we're going to clamp the front and clamp the back. And that'll keep it from you know, I think I just had an additional thought to my thought. And let me tell you my new thought on top of this thought. Here's the new thought. Now that I just saw what that was like, I think we're going to go one step further. What I want to do is we're going to try and recess this front clamp down into this wood at least slightly. And in order to do that, we're going to have to make a provision for, essentially for the clamp. Let me see if I can find, well, let me sweep up these shavings real quick. And then I need to find my 1/4" driver. And we'll see how things work out. I bet it's here in the plane. No, not in the plane. I found it. It has a Phillips bit in it, and that's why I didn't see it initially. I was just looking for the driver end. Okay, back to new plan. So we're coming through here like this. I want to put this, yeah, we want to kind of put it we want our I guess our screw heads kind of opposite of each other so that we can tighten them. Right now, it doesn't matter to me which one I'm putting on the left or right currently, whether it's the mic or headphones. I can always adjust that later. What I'm doing right now is I want to put these in here and mark, just kind of see where you might need to. We're probably going to have to drill a couple holes and maybe chisel it out a little bit, you know, with a wood chisel. You know, I want to make a relief that way. That way, my theory is to, you know, have these kind of drop down in here, and then, yeah, we would now be flush with, you know, this piece of wood, which might, you know, prevent some sort of finger injury plugging in or out on these hose clamps. There might be a better idea. You know, if you wanted to sacrifice this thing, you could probably just glue it in there and it would be a permanent fixture. You know, but at least in this fashion, I can always remove it if for some reason I were to need to extend it in the real plane. You know, I've got two of them that, you know, I would have access to that would remove relatively quickly in this fashion, just by unplugging it from the intercom and undoing a couple of hose clamps. So, I do want to take a couple minutes real quick and say thank you to SNicer07 who came in with a new follow while we were offline earlier this week, and the Flyer 333 with a new follow. Thank you so much. Look forward to flying with you in the very near future. So that's gonna be the plan. So that being said, I'm just gonna kind of take my pen And I'm just kind of draw an outline of, you know, whatever you would call the that hose clamp part, the head of the hose clamp there, that assembly. Of course, the pen's not writing on it so well, so I'm just gonna kind of use this marker, go around it, and then same on the other side. I'm just gonna kind of go around it. And since I'm going around it, you know, I don't have to take away that line. That line can stay there. I need to take away the material that's in between the line, because I traced around, you know, around what I want to recess down in there. So that being done, let's go ahead and take this off of here. And take this off of here. Pull these out. I don't know if this will work, but I'm thinking it'll work. So what I need is a drill bit. Do I have one that's close? Yeah, I think that might work. Cloaked Envy, hello, welcome on in. Discussing the headset jack installation right now. So I think what I'm going to try and do is take this drill bit, which this is probably a 3/8 drill bit, and to kind of go in the corners here. I only need to go, you know, I mean, I only want to recess this thing flush, you know, so I don't need to get crazy with it. You know, I only need to go maybe 3/8, a quarter of an inch. And my theory is to just kind of drill some holes, or at least 2 holes, you know, one in each corner here on the inside of the line, and then possibly with a little wood chisel out some of that material. And then again, that should help be able to recess those clamps down into how I want to mount them here. So, let's get our scrap board again. And kind of see it right there. And here we go. So I think, again, I'll do a couple pilot holes. That'll help keep the larger bit more where I wanted. But I gotta kind of guesstimate this, you know, I want my pilot hole to essentially be in the center of where I want my larger corner hole to be. You know, so I'm not gonna drill my pilot hole all the way at the edge, more so at kind of the middle of the radius of that corner. Alright, so kind of what I thought might happen on at least one of these, when I started to drill that pilot hole, it kind of walked off the edge and walked, you know, towards the larger hole there. You know, be careful using some backward pressure, trying to, you know, keep the bit, because you could break the bit if you're drilling at an angle. But I just put a little backward pressure on it to recapture that hole. So now that I've got those 4 little pilot holes drilled kind of on the inside of the area I want to remove, I'm going to switch over to this larger bit and we'll go down in there, not very far. Like I said, 1/4 to 3/16 of an inch, if that. Alright, so I'm looking at something like this now. I've got 2 larger holes here. It's kind of around side that, or two larger, smaller holes. We had our pilot hole. And what I'm going to do is go and grab a very small chisel, wood chisel, maybe about a 1/2 inch one. And I just want to remove this material that's kind of in between where we drilled those holes. And then hopefully, if we get these tightened up, these will recess down in here. And then it'll give us a nice flush, sort of a flush feel after we sand all this down after it's cut and painted. So, let me go grab a chisel real quick from the garage and bring that in here, and we'll do some banging on this piece of board. I'll be right back. Well, unfortunately, I could not find the chisel I was looking for. I did find this 3/4 inch one, which is probably going to be sufficient, because again, I just need to go in between. So yeah, that'll work out. And then, kind of in between, we want to take that middle section out. So let me see if I can't get this to work, because I honestly have no idea where the 1/2 inch one is, which would be more ideal. Again, there's probably a better way of doing this. Someone might have a router bit or some sort of special way to get in there and make it nice and clean and pretty. I have this hammer and this wood chisel. But I think it just might accomplish what we're trying to set out to do. So, that being done, and all I did, the camera angle is kind of weird, just came in with the wood chisel and removed that material that was left over after we drilled those holes down, maybe 1/4 to 3/8 of an inch. And we're going to test out this thought process by which way did I have that? Our tightening portion, the nut was towards the outside. So I guess position right now doesn't matter as we're just kind of test fitting this. Okay. We're close. I think need to open up this side, the larger hole, just a little bit, which won't be a problem with that reamer bit, because that clamp is taking up just a little bit of space. And if we were to tighten it, yeah. So we might have to open this front up just a little bit. Let me try the other side. Because even if our drill bit went in just a little bit crooked at one end or another, that may be enough to, you know, compensate for that hose clamp. But we'll just test this side real quick. Okay, yeah, so this side's going down in. It kind of, you know, as I kind of want it to. I think I need to chisel a little bit more material out, and then this side will work out just fine. Let me throw the bit, the 13/16 bit back in this drill. And we're not going to get crazy with it. We're just going to kind of go in from I'm essentially just kind of going around the edge in there. Let me chisel out this one side a little bit more, and then we'll see how both sides fit again. Okay. Chiseled out this side a little bit more. We opened up this side up a little bit. So we'll try the side that we know didn't fit initially. Okay. I think that got it. Yeah. Let's try the other side. It's gonna be the same, method here. Hose clamp. And then, so it might have to chisel that out a little more. But that's kind of the theory. That's my thought process. And then we come in from the back with the same way. You have that forward and backward pressure, and then when you're plugging and unplugging your GA headset in, it's not going to go in because the clamp. And then the theory is, it's not going to pull out because the clamp behind it. So I think that'll work out. I want to do a little bit more chiseling and ensure that these clamps will fully recess down in there. And then we need to measure, I guess we'll need to measure where we need to cut this thing at. To fit that co-pilot side of the panel there. Let's chisel this out just a little bit more, and then we'll head back into the plane, and we're gonna have to measure where we need to cut this board at. I think that'll work out alright. I mean, it looks kind of ugly right now, but once we paint it, I don't think it'll look horrible. We'll see. Alright, I got another mess I need to sweep up off of this floor real quick. And then we'll head into the plane. I also need to take a quick break as well. So I will be right back with everyone momentarily. Thanks for sticking around. Alright, thanks for sticking around. Where were we at? We were going to head inside the plane and figure out, because what we're going to need to do is, as we talked about earlier, is, we're going to kind of have to, come up like this, but then come up like this, because we need to clearance this for our glove box, and we're going to be able to kind of hopefully secure here through our panel, and then possibly through our glove box down this way, but we won't know, we'll be able to come through our glove box until we get, all of this up in place. So that's kind of the plan. So let's head inside of the plane. Let me grab the tape measure here and this piece of wood. And I'll see you over there. Alright, hopefully everyone can see. Okay, so what we're looking to do, see, oh, that camera's not live, is it? Hold on one moment. Okay, that should be working, yep. What we're looking to do is put that assembly kind of right here. But we need to determine kind of let's see. From the bottom of our panel to the panel support board is 2 inches, right? Okay, 2 inches. So, and then how far over is our glove box? So 1 3/4 would clear it. What I'm looking at is I have 2 inches between, essentially from the bottom of the panel to as high as we can go up with this board. Because we have our shelf that our yokes sit on, so that's about as high as we can go. And if we can come over if we come over this way 1 1/4 inches, that would clear the frame. So what we need to do is kind of figure out how far down we want. So we don't want this sticking out any further than necessary. So we have about 1/4 inch. Okay. So there's about 1/4 inch between the bottom of the panel and the floor of the glove box. And we're going to be securing it behind the panel. So we need to take account 1/4 inch, this way. So however far we come down below our panel, we should add 1/4 inch, I think. Okay. Alright, let's head back to the hangar and draw some lines on this board. Okay. What I've got here is my handy dandy triangle thing. What did I do with the marker? First thing I'm gonna do is kind of scribe this is the this is the below line. So I think if my panel, I think if the panel comes to that line, that'll be just fine. And then I'm gonna come up just slightly for the glove box floor. It's ever so slight. So that's done. And then I was going to come over 1 inch, 1.5 inch, 1 3/4. We had 1 3/4 inches between the glove box sidewall on the right side and the edge of the panel. So I'm going to mark 1 3/4 inches. figure out how to draw that line. Okay, we'll kind of do it like that. And then I need to come up 2 inches. So we're 2 1/4, 4 1/4. So I think that would essentially be my cut line for the co-pilot side. Is, you know, pay no attention to this crossed outline, but we're gonna come up, over, up and over, and then, you know, this area here is provision for our glove box. This is gonna kind of come down and wrap under our glove box, kind of right here, and I'm hoping to capture this through the panel, you know, with 2 screws going into that way. So, let me take another quick break, and then going to have to cut this board, and probably just gonna do that in the garage real quick. I don't have any of the cameras out there currently, but it shouldn't take me long to cut that board. I'm just gonna use a jigsaw, and what I'll do is I'll drill a hole right here at this corner, not in the part that we're using, but in our waist. So I'll come this way with the blade, and then this hole that I drill that's larger than the blade diameter, or the blade, you know, it's larger than the blade, then you can stick your sawzall in and cut straight down this way. That'll give you a nice clean corner here, and then you could start your cut this way, and then I'll give you a clean corner. But I do need to take another quick break, and then I'll be right back with you, and then I'm gonna head out to the garage. So bear with me just another moment, and I appreciate your patience, and we will continue working on this headset jack. Okay. Alright, thank you again for your patience, everyone. Here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna grab my gloves real quick and go ahead and drill this first hole that we're gonna need. This one right here that I'm gonna need to get the sawzall in. So now I'm gonna head out to the garage real quick. I'm gonna take the jigsaw and I'm gonna make a cut here. I'm gonna make this cut here. Make the cut here. I'm gonna come back in and talk about the next step. I'm sorry that I can't take you out there right now. Just with the way that, with how the cameras are plugged in currently, I don't have the length to get out there. So, but give me just a couple minutes to go and do that, and I will be right back. Alright, I appreciate your patience while I did that, but this is kind of what we're looking at right now. It's very rough, but I want to at least see if it fits. If it fits where we need it to fit, then I'll take it out and just to the little orbital sander and just kind of sand it real quick. and give it a coat of paint, and we'll see if we can't get this thing attached. So let's head into the plane and at least see if this thing fits where we need it to. So theoretically, my hope is that it kind of goes up in here. Okay. You look good, mostly, but we can come up a bit more, which means that too long right here. So let me go cut a little bit off the top here, and I'll be right back. Alright, thank you again for your patience. I just went and cut a little bit off of the top here, and we'll see how we fit up in there now. That looks a bit better. And that brings me tight up with... Yep, that brings me tight up against the glove box. Yeah, I think that'll work out. I'll see you back at the hangar for the next step. Okay, this will work out just fine, I think. What I want to do real quick is... Tell you what, we might be able to do this. Probably gonna be the best we'll be able to do. As far as taking you out to the garage. Let's see. Alright, well, I am sorry for the what's going to appear to be fisheye, but it'll at least take you out to the garage. You're probably not going to have any sort of audio. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take this over to the sander. Little hand sander. I'm going to sand it down some. And then we'll give it a coat of paint. And then I'll come back in and then we'll do some work inside the cockpit while this is drying. So, alright, let's see if this works how I want it to. Let's go like this. And then we'll go like this. Alright, Satin Canyon Black is my preferred color of choice. That's what the panel is done in, that's what everything is done in, the console. And then our gray is I forget right now. Okay, but while that's drying, let's go ahead and move into the plane. I want to get our interior handles installed. Discussing again location. If we look again at the 172 Foxtrot, on the right hand side, you can see that that grab handle is on that A-pillar forward of the door there. If we look at our 172, we're gonna go just forward of the door frame, and we're gonna go on the first board. Let me step in there real quick. Let me grab some things that we're gonna need. Like this. And then these screws. Okay. I want to look at, we're looking at our A-pillar. We kind of want to go in the middle. And we want to be in that first board. Because remember, our A-pillar here is actually 2 boards. We have our door frame. Alright, so we have our door frame board, and then we have our A-pillar board right here in front of it. We want to put our handle like right about there. We want it kind of even between the cabin top and the glare shield. We want it kind of in the middle, kind of equidistant. So something like that. Would probably work out. In fact, I think I kinda like that there. So let me go ahead, and I've got the small drill bit in my drill here. And just gonna kinda mark our holes here. Yeah, I always want to puncture through our vinyl. That way our screw doesn't grab our vinyl and twist it round and round and round. Makes kind of a mess. These handles have an inner and an outer part. So that's gonna go there. And suppose I should just drill a good pilot hole. Okay, there and there. And we'll screw this bottom one in. Okay. I'm gonna leave it a little bit loose till I get this top one screwed in. Okay. Find another screw into our pilot hole. Alright, I did that wrong. That goes on the inside. Because it slides. Okay. Okay, so that means this one's on wrong too. Let's flip this around like so. Find that hole. Okay, that'll work. And then there's a couple of cosmetic chrome covers that we can put over top of those bracket assemblies. Kind of go sort of like that. Okay. Like so. There's one. I'm going to move over to the other seat and we will put the next one in. I'm going to step out in the garage momentarily and give another coat of paint to that board. Alright, so let's do the same thing for this side. Gonna go on the same fashion. Gonna go on to this first frame board here, about halfway. Looks pretty decent there. I'm gonna drill a pilot hole. Then another pilot hole. Take our bracket and place it over our handle, and that's going to get screwed in. We'll start here at the bottom. Screw bracket through the handle into the pilot hole. To be snug, but not overly tight, because you want to be able to, you know, reach up and grab that handle and have it pull out and do what it's supposed to do. And we'll put that cap on there, and we'll put that cap on there. Okay. That handles our A pillars. these things wrapped here. So I think we'll start with getting some batting material cut for this interior side here. And I can see, I just realized that I missed the board when I was screwing my roof panel up. I probably ought to take care of that real quick. I'm just gonna drill another hole. That's not what I wanted. I guess the other view was better. Alright, let me this roof panel screwed up here into this board. Okay, that takes care of that. Alright, so let's get some batting material, some of that padding stuff, and I'll hold it up here, and I'm just gonna kind of cut it to length. And I just want to do this inside part. I don't want to go underneath here. So let me go see what we have scrap wise. Shouldn't take much. I'll be right back. Alright, so I have this piece here. I couldn't tell you what it's a remnant from or what part, but it does appear to be just the right length to cover our door. So let's head over there, we'll see how that looks. I kind of wanted to come something like that. So that's plenty long enough. So it does appear to be plenty long enough. I just need to cut myself a couple strips of it. You know, they only need to be 1.5 inches, roughly. So I'm just going to kind of fold it over on itself, and hopefully I can, you know, make my cut half the length. You know, cut twice the material at once or something like that. As long as I keep it even, I would imagine be alright. Remember, it doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, so there's one piece. Remember, that's just going to go on the inside. So let's go see how much we might need to trim off. So yeah, I didn't have to cut much of that off at all. So let's just go ahead and cut another piece. And since we know that they're the same size, or same length on both sides, we'll just use that piece we just cut off to, cut off of this one. And then we'll staple these up in place and get some vinyl pieces cut and get them stapled up in place, and it should be good to go. That should essentially wrap up interior. Hope everyone has had a good week, and I do want to thank you for coming in and hanging out for a bit this evening. Okay, we've got our trusty dusty stapler. Let's make sure that we're loaded. That should be enough to get these up. We'll head to the inside. I'm going to just kind of staple these up in place where I want them. They're on that inside panel, on the inside top of our door frame there. And then we'll work on the vinyl part. Alright, got that one side up there. Let me turn this camera. We'll go over here to the other side. Get that one up in place. Alright, same deal over here. Okay. There's those 2 rows. One up on the pilot side door frame, and then one up on the co-pilot side door frame there. Again, the theory is to just kind of wrap it so we don't see that wood exposed. I'm trying to think. I really don't want to have to pull the ceiling panel down. That's not my goal. So, might have to use maybe some sort of credit card or some sort of small thing to wedge our vinyl up in between the ceiling panel and our door frame board here. But let's go see what type of vinyl we have to work with and go from there. Okay, so I do have some vinyl scraps here. Probably these 2 would be the best ones. First, let's see if these are going to be wide enough. just had to cut down to length, but it looks like it does look like 2 of these pieces will be long enough. But what we need to ensure is that whatever edge we put up against our roof panel, we need to make sure that that's pretty square, because we don't have a whole lot of clearance along the top there. So let me go and get my square. We'll see how square these actually are. What I'm looking for, I guess, when I hold the short edge up, I can tell you right now that my long edge is not square. So I'm going to set this down on the floor and we'll try and square this up with some scissors. I just want a nice, as straight of an edge as I can. So I'm just going to try and cut this using this square as a guide. Don't know how well it's going to work out. Actually, I'll just turn it over and I'll mark the back of it. How about that? That'll work. I'll just use a marker and mark the back of it and cut along that line. And the only reason we're doing this is that's the side that's going to go up against our roof liner or our roof panel there. Like I said, that with our cross beams, there's not a whole lot of room for excess material to go. So the straighter we are, the easier it'll be to kind of line and flush everything up, I guess. At least that's what makes sense in my head anyway. And I guess it's better than it was. But the plan now, let's head inside the plane and we'll try and get this kind of up in there. I'm going to start in the middle and work my way out. I think that's going to be easiest. So let's see if we can go and get one of these pieces in. Okay, let's see how well this is going to work out here. Okay. Okay. Looks good there. We need to come back some. Okay, right there. And I'm just trying to okay. Right there. Might be easier to kind of go along, staple along as you go. But again, I want to kind of get some of that tucked up in there. I'm doing that simply because I don't want to pull this roof panel back down. You know, if you wanted to pull your roof panel back down, you could bring this vinyl up, give it a nice clean appearance and fit. And the theory is to end up right here at the edge of the door, so that I don't have to trim any at the back of the door. Okay. Then I'm gonna start in the middle. We'll fold it over. Looks like I might have to trim just a little bit off of the front there. Let me go grab the scissors. Doesn't look like much. That'll work. Just needed to get up and around there. Now I'm gonna bring you on the outside of the plane. Right now I'm tucking all of that batting back up in here, and then we're gonna wrap that around. Because I don't want that batting material to come down here much, because that'll take up some door space. So I'm just gonna wrap that around, and I'm just gonna staple it into the door frame, because I don't want to go into the roof panel. So I'm gonna trim some excess. Caldwick, appreciate that. What did I do with? Okay, scissors. And then I'm just gonna come right along here where, again, because it's modular now, you know, I want to be able to take it apart if need be, so we're not gonna attach anything to our roof panel here. You know, it's just gonna be attached down here. So something to that effect. Okay. Let's see if we can go to the other side now. Alright, so we have this one here that we're working with. I believe just the right one. Yep, that looks right. So let's find a square edge on here. If we don't have one, we're gonna have to make one. Might help if we actually had a square edge at the top here. What did I do with those scissors? Interesting. I just had those scissors in my hand. What did I do with them? Up there. I found them. Alright, first thing I need to do is square off this corner here. There. Now our T-square should fit better. Alright. Get a nice straight line, and again that's just so that we can meet the edge of our roof panel somewhat seamlessly. In hindsight, you know, if I had that roof panel off of there, you could completely wrap those frames and bring that vinyl up to your roof. But then that ties into your roof and doesn't make it as modular, because then you're going to have to take your roof panel down. So let me cut this line here as straight as I can. I guess it's not terrible. And we're just going to kind of do the same thing, but we're going to do it on the other side. Alright, again I want to thank you for coming in and hanging out. We have our nice square edge here. We just put our batting material up here. We're going to start in the middle. And then just kind of work our way out. Get one in here and I don't know, hold it in place. And working my way towards the back, kind of pushing this. Don't drop the stapler. But kind of pushing the batting material up as I'm making my way back here. Because again, I don't want that much of that batting material to go under. I want it to stay on the inside. Pushing it up. a little off center. Okay. How many am I in? 2. I guess that's not terrible. I can deal with 2. Okay, let me go grab some pliers to... Never mind, I got it. Thought I was gonna have to pull this staple out, but I got it. Okay, let's try this again. We are back here. Okay. So, right about there. Let's try this again. That looks better. Okay. Again, I'm pushing my batting material up. I'm gonna try and use those same 2 holes. Okay. There we go. Just like so. Put one back here. And moving forward. Forward some more. Just sort of like that. Now, I'll see if I can't bring you around to this side of the aircraft, so we can kind of do the same thing. I don't think that's quite gonna reach, but we're essentially doing the same thing. Gonna make sure our batting material is pushed up because we don't want any to come underneath. And then I'm just gonna staple into my lower frame only because I don't want to staple into the roof. Okay, and then I'm just going to trim that scrap piece off that's protruding out above. Pilot 11223344, welcome in. Hope you're doing well. So I think that essentially takes care of that. Let's see how we're looking here. Let's head on to the inside. Okay, I think we're gonna be looking just fine here. Yeah, so there's wrapped together decently. Alright. Let me hop in here and close this door. We'll see how it looks. So yeah, that really kind of ties it all together, I think. Really kind of enhances, and because now we don't have that wood there, and now we're more we're sitting more inside of of our airplane, so we're not as detracted. So yeah, that being said, let's go check our intercom piece, our microphone thing, headset jack. Let me go grab that, and we'll see how well that fits up in here. I'd say it's probably dry enough for us to work with, and of course autofocus isn't going to autofocus. Excuse me. No, did that get it? No, sure didn't. Alright, one more time. Nope, that certainly didn't get it either. Okay, let's do this. Let's do this. Let's do this. Let's do this. Okay, let's try that. Okay. So I think it'll be dry enough to do what we need it to do. What we want it to do. So let's head in there and do a test fit and see how this, make sure it fits up there alright. Yep, I think that'll work out fine. I do think that'll work out just fine there. Yeah. So let me go and get the drill, and we'll go ahead and mount this thing up here. Okay, first thing I'm gonna do is hold it up in place. And I'm going to drill me some pilot holes. Into my panel. And all the way through into our board here. And then put one above it. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to drill these holes larger than the screws I'm going to use. I'm going to go grab the screws, and then we'll head back to and discuss those just a minute. So the screws I'm going to use are these number 8 by inch and 5/8 drywall screws. They're black in color, so that's going to help them to kind of blend in a little bit better. And then I'm going to drill through my panel so that the screw will go directly through it and only screw into our board, our audio jack board. That way we're not putting undue stress on our panel itself. So those two small pilot holes I drilled in the panel, we're now going to utilize this bit and open those up just a bit more. And then we're going to screw in our audio jack board. Okay, very carefully we're going to drill through. All the way. We don't want to push too fast. Okay, so my screws should fit through there, but not go through there, and that's exactly what I want. I'm going to put a bit extender in my impact driver just so I can get a little bit longer reach on these screws here. But let's go ahead and kind of get this up into place here. Okay. Now, this is going to be the ultimate theory test. Let me go grab, actually let me go back to the hangar and chit chat with you for a minute. Right, so remember now, our theory is that these are going to go in. Let's make sure I can find all my hose clamps first, because we need to have two on the back side, one on the back side of each, and then one on the front side. So I should have 4 clamps total. There's the 4th one. Okay. What I'm gonna do now is just kind of pre-tighten some of these on the back. Just because I don't want them falling off when I'm messing with them, I'm gonna snug them up tighter than the plug. That way they don't fall off. And once we get these front ones in, then we'll come in and we'll tighten these back ones up. So again, the theory is to come in from the front, get these clamps on there. I know on the pilot side, I've got the headphone jack on the left and the mic jack on the right. I want to say that's also going to be the same for the co-pilot side as well. So we'll put the headphone on the left and the mic jack on the right. So big one on the left. Okay, let's head into there. Alright, so here we are. Let's see if we can grab. Okay, here's the big one. Let's put it through. Okay, and then remember we wanted our adjusting nut needs to be facing towards the outside. I don't want it to be completely flush. I want some of this sticking out. So, sorry, I was probably completely blocking your view there for a moment. So, kind of shove that back in there. Yeah, like that. And so that's gonna slide up on the back side. Let's loosen this up. Sort of like that. On the back side we have that clamp. Maybe if I can aim it, if I can aim the camera properly. But that's, yeah, I think that'll work out just fine. So let's go ahead and stick this one through. this is the mic jack. We'll get this clamp on here. Kind of tighten it like so. Make sure we have a little bit of jack sticking out. And then, you know, we're kind of like that. And we'll shove this down inside there, like that. And same thing over here. I'm going to loosen up my clamp. I don't have the correct microphone muff on my microphone boom, and it keeps falling off on occasion. Sometimes kinda makes the audio a bit garbled. So I'm just gonna bring that clamp up here now on the microphone port. And I'm bringing it all the way back up against my 2x4 here. And I'm just coming in from the underside. Of course, I'm gonna have to lay my head down under there. This one's being a little bit stubborn because I'm having a hard time seeing it, so I have to go and feel. I think I have it loose enough to get all the way up to the back of the board. I think what I'm going to try and do is take this clamp off and turn this looseny, tighteny part around the other way. So that I'm not up against the wall trying to get that tool on there. I hope everyone had a good week, and that your week has fared you well. I think part of the problem is I got too much sticking out on front. Let me back that up just a little bit. And I think I was trying to capture the taper of the plug instead of more or less the barrel part. And as I kept tightening it down, I kept trying to force it out. I have no idea why this one side is being so incredibly difficult compared to this other side. Okay, it's up there. It's up there. Just gotta tighten that up. This thing's gonna make me lay down on my head. I get it. That'll work. That will work. So I'll take this and have to bring it up here. Toss it over outside of the cockpit. And then I'm gonna have to come around and plug it into our intercom. Beyond ATC is something that I am not overly familiar with, so I really can't give you an opinion on that. But yeah, I think we can go ahead and test this intercom out. Let me go ahead and move over to that plug. So, hopefully, everyone can hear me. I can't see my OBS audio bar currently. Alright, great. So intercom works. Co-pilot side. So we're good to go there. Where's that other camera? It's not real noisy. It really isn't. That's part of the great things about going the GA headset route. Even with airflow, it's not real noisy. Okay. Let me do this. So yeah, the co-pilot intercom thing works, and I will fully disclose that I did take care of the pilot one earlier while I was offline and unable to necessarily stream. But the pilot one is constructed in the very similar fashion. So I kind of had an idea as to what we were going to do moving and going into this. But I think overall, I think it turned out, for what it is, I think it turned out well. Probably could have a cleaner appeal somehow. Because I can still kind of see those hose clamps, but I could always maybe put some black tape over it. But the key point is, I'm not catching my finger on those hose clamps, and that's what I didn't necessarily want to happen. So, yeah, I think that we got a lot accomplished today. We got the A-pillars finished up with our grab handles. We got our door frames finished up. So yeah, I think, oh, we lost our GoPro feed. Stand by. Alright, Bluetooth, was a question why I don't use Bluetooth headsets, and I guess the biggest reason for that is that I'm not sure. I wanted the intercom capability of talking to my co-pilot that's sitting right beside me. So at the time I was designing, I wasn't sure of any sort of Bluetooth headsets, that would give me that capability. Because like right now, if someone else was plugged in here into the intercom, I would be able to carry on a conversation with them without necessarily transmitting over VATSIM or Pilot Edge or anything like that. So I guess that's why I'm not using Bluetooth gaming type headsets for what I want to do in here. Plus, again, my ultimate goal, is to have this thing certified as a flight training device. And I'd rather people just be able to bring their own GA headset and plug in. You know, then that's just everyone's using their own, headset. So that's, yeah, I think that's essentially gonna wrap up everything interior wise. Yeah. We are gonna finish off this series with the last few more parts, and we'll get their exterior wall panels up, and do a conclusion. But I think interior wise, we're just about there. Door pockets, I still need to get the door pockets in. And I haven't quite decided if I want to stay with the original width. That would be easiest, because then they're already made, and I can just screw them up in there. So yeah, maybe, yeah, I'm not sure how we're going to do that. But let's head back to the hangar real quick and chit-chat, and I'll see you over there. Now I forget what I was just going to... Oh yeah, door pockets. These were the originals. I suppose I could still use these. And instead of duct tape, to kind of smooth everything out, I'm going to try this blue painter's tape. Honestly, I'm just trying to, where I have it folded over and stapled to these pieces of wood, I'm really just trying to make that less dangerous when you stick your hand back in there. So I tried duct tape previously and it just got hot and really tacky. Did not work out overly well. What happened was the tape started sliding around on the inside of here, and it just, It didn't work out. I don't know if this will work out any better. How these door pockets were constructed, I discussed in an earlier part of the series, but it's essentially just 1-inch pieces of 1/4-inch thick flat wood strips. And I just kind of folded the vinyl over top and essentially just kind of staple gunned it on the inside. So when we screw it to our door panel from the outside, it doesn't look terrible. Let's head back inside there and see how this might look real quick. It doesn't look terrible. Of the original size, I don't think the door pocket looks terrible or overly large. Because if we narrowed it down, it may not hold as much stuff as we need it to hold. Yeah, I think we'll just leave them intact, and I will try this blue painter's tape and see how it works out. Okay. So I think that might be alright. I'm going to put another row along the top edge. I think that'll work out. Because once it's screwed to our door, we really aren't going to see, the inside of it per se. So you're not really going to see this portion of it. Okay. I think it's time for me to have to wrap this episode up. Yeah, it is 10 o'clock in the Eastern time. My girlfriend just got off work a little bit ago, so we're gonna go and spend time with her. Tomorrow we're gonna finish everything up and yeah, do some extensive testing of all the hardware. We'll do some flying, making sure that everything is up to par for Sunday. Kovdwick, I think the best thing I did was put everything in their exact location so that way it feels the same, whether I'm flying in this thing or flying in the real plane. You know, just that muscle memory, having everything in the exact spot. So that is it for me and for this evening. I do want to thank you all for coming in and hanging out. Um, Totally 78. I do hope to see you there on Sunday. Yeah, it ought to be it ought to be great. So, um, yeah. So tomorrow, finish up the door pockets and do any sort of fine tuning that we might need to do, and then I'll probably close that stream, and that'll be the end of our series rebuild, and then we'll start a new stream and do some actual flying and testing of everything. So, but we'll just play all that by ear. So, I do want to again thank you all for coming in and hanging out as we are winding things down and bringing this rebuild to a close. I hope I hope you all have had fun and have enjoyed the adventure. So, let's see who we can go and raid this evening until tomorrow. I am probably going to get started earlier than normal. Probably early afternoon, maybe. We'll see. Yeah, but let's see who we can go and raid this evening. Alright. We're gonna go and raid my buddy STW222. He is actually working Indianapolis approach this evening on the VATSIM network. So I'm assuming it's he's working approach for Indianapolis Airport. So, but until tomorrow, again, I do hope you all take care and stay safe. My name is Michael, and it's been my pleasure. Have a great evening, everyone. We'll see you later.